Okay,
when I
okay.
pass the message
So
on.
I am recording now. Paul and I are together. It is November 10th. And what we discussed initially was Paul needs about $250,000 in cash to get his White Rock project ready to break ground sometime in April 2021. And probably the fastest way we concluded to get that $250,000 is to call a meeting of his architect and his development manager, of course himself, maybe his coach, i.e. me, and anywhere from 10 to 15 trades. And each of the trades would be asked to contribute either 15 or 20 or $25,000, basically with some interest on it, probably around 6% for a year. The interest would be capitalized, in other words, paid at the end. And it would be a simple promissory note signed by Paul. And that would give Paul about $250,000. Probably do that between now and Christmas. Put that money in the bank and then use it to get the project till April. What the trades get for that in return, other than they get their 6% interest, is they get a right to bid on the project or a right to quote on the project, whether they're mechanical guys or electrical guys or consultants, surveyors, who knows what they are. They get the right to bid or to quote. But even more importantly, if it is a bid, they get the right to match. So if they weren't so say the mechanical on this building was, I don't know, $4 million and they bid 4.1 million and somebody else bid 4 million, so they were about 100 grand less. The person who helped out to get the project to the start line would get the right to match that 4 million. And that's a very powerful method of helping contractors, but also helping yourself. This is really called bootstrap financing or strategic financing, and it works. I've done it many times myself, and many of my clients have done it too. So that Paul and I dealt with that. Then what we were talking about next is how do we really explain what White Rock is? Because Paul and his very capable architect, Tony, have come up with this beautiful design for these lock-off suites in the White Rock project, which are, I mean, they're just the best designs I've seen yet of this type. And what I was saying to Paul just before we started recording this, it is that yes, what we're doing is novel and interesting, but it isn't unknown. So how does it actually work? And I'm going to just show you, I'm going to share my screen with you. I found Tony's design here. Can you see it okay, Paul?
Yep, I can see it. Yep.
All right, so I'll just make it a little bit smaller so we can get it on one screen. So let's just take this as an example. So here's the corridor. You come in here. This is the entrance to the main suite. You come in here. Here's the main suite. You've got a kitchen here. I guess a bit of an island there, a little bit of a dining room table here, an entertainment area, maybe a little bit of a work area here. And then here is the master bedroom and an ensuite with a slider door. What's really cool about this is you come in here and you turn left, I guess, left, and you've got this lock-off suite here, which has its own independent living. So it's got its own bathroom. I have to say, I probably wouldn't put a bath here. I would put a shower here and a shower here. As you know, a lot of older people will not take baths. You know, they certainly don't want to step into a bathtub. You know, when you're 80, that can be very dangerous. And young people hardly ever. When was the last time you took a bath?
Don't even remember.
You don't remember. You know, I'm 68. I haven't taken a bath in like forever. You know, and the last time I did take a bath, it was a romantic event, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So that's quite a while ago. So the neat thing about these units is that, and Paul was the one who discovered this, is that these larger apartments would be rented to elderly people who have, at least in White Rock, who have quite a bit of money. And so what we're trying to figure out is what happens to these lock-off suites. What does that actually look like? And so here's what I think makes sense, Paul. And if you don't agree with me, well, we'll just keep working at it until we find out a solution. But I think that this whole thing here is rented by the elder. It's so the lock-off suite and this main apartment is rented for say $6,000 a month. All right, so an elder, you know, sells her house in White Rock for $1.5 million, $2 million, $2.5 million. I don't know. Their prices are out of control in BC. But so she sells it for $1.5 million or $2 million. She has the money to rent a nice place like this for $6,000. Then she has the option and the right to sublet this lock-off suite to a young person. It could be, you know, her niece. It could be a student who's going to the university, and it provides some affordable housing, right? So nothing to do with personal care, personal support work, or nothing to do with personal care. It's just a means of having some company with hopefully a younger person, because I talk to a lot of elders and they don't like being in a ghetto where the only people you see every day are people your own age, 80, 90, 95, 100, 105. You know, that's a ghetto. And we found out in the pandemic, that's a dangerous place to live. Right, so you know, it is dangerous. So this could just be a place that she rents to a student or whatever. And what would a little one-bedroom lock-off suite like this rent for in White Rock, just as a general rental?
1,200, 1,300.
Yeah, so she's paying $6,000, and she has the right then to sublet it and get $1,200. But here's the cool thing. If the person that she rents to, which could be a niece or a nephew, I suppose, or some other young person or middle-aged person perhaps, with a PSW, personal support worker certificate, that person still rents. So they have to live somewhere. So they still rent this place for, you know, $1,200 or whatever. But whenever they do work for this lady, provide any care, whether it's an hour a day or 2 hours a day, or for that matter, 8 hours a day, they get paid for that. And what's really cool about this idea, and when I said we're not reinventing the wheel here, they do this in the Netherlands. This is very, very common. The Netherlands, a long time ago now, at least a decade ago, figured out that retirement residences, at least in my opinion and their opinion, and I think they're right, it is not the right way to go. That you want to mix the generations. It will keep people healthier. I believe that, and certainly, there's more life in a building if you have a bunch of 20-somethings and 30-somethings and 40-somethings as opposed to just 90-year-olds. So let's say there's a young person here. She's renting for $1,200 a month. Maybe she's going to school, but she has her PSW, and she does some work for the lady here, and she gets paid $20 or $25 an hour. So she doesn't have to put in, say it's $25 an hour. She doesn't have to put in that many hours in the month to live basically for free. So maybe in the morning she comes in and she helps the elder, get cleaned up, get dressed, get some breakfast. So she spends an hour there in the morning. She comes home at night after she's been to school or, been to work, whatever kind of work she might be doing. She might, for all I know, she might be a barista at Starbucks. She comes back and she spends another hour or an hour and a half in the evening. So let's say she's spending maybe 3 hours a day. That is $75 of earnings a day. And if she does that for, say, 20, how many work days? 20 days, 20. So maybe she gets the weekends off. She's earning $1,500 for stuff that she's just there anyway. Right. So she's paying $1,200 in rent, but she's getting $1,500 from the lady. She's living for a negative amount of money. That is a pretty cool model. And from the point of view of the retirement home residents, there's a lot less stress on, say, the nursing station. So this has real significant implications for a retirement, because I know the retirement residences are really struggling, especially in the pandemic. But even before that, do you know what it costs to have a nursing station run 24/7, 365?
Not a clue.
It's about $400 to $450,000 a year.
Oh, okay.
So, so this model will not only help elders, I think, get better care, because if you have 2 nurses on staff and overnight only 1, that nurse who's overnight, or the 2 that are on call during the day, if there's, if there's 30 residents there or 100 residents, there's a very limited amount of work that they can do for that person. They're
Yes,
really
and
only there.
so
They're really
so
only
Bru-
there, Paul, if there's a crisis, a health crisis. You fall and you break your hip. Yes, the nurse will show up. But if you have 30 people, elders in this building, which I think you will end up with, and you have a nursing station, there's no way you can spend an hour with each of those people a day, even there's only, because that's 30 hours in the day.
30
We don't
hours.
have 30 hours.
Right. What I struggle with here is that this apartment building and that concept is great. When I say, if I was the senior looking to purchase and acquire or lease one of these places,
Yep.
Why would I spend $6,000 to live in a place like this? Well, when I have a place, say I can rent an apartment that has a bedroom and do a home share program, which is in Toronto right now, and do that for probably a lot less money than paying $6,000 a month. So that's where I try to.
But I was under the impression that this was going to be something you were going to consider selling to a retirement residence.
Yes, correct.
So the retirement residence will have a nursing station.
Okay, so the retirement.
But to me, that nursing station is now a backup plan as opposed to the first responder. It's the second, right?
Right.
The first responder is your PSW living in the lock-off suite. And, if you say, if I'm an elderly man and I can't remember if I took my pills or not, I don't have to call down to the nursing station, because those are not, nurses are very expensive. They're not $20 or $25 an hour people anymore. They're quite a bit more than that. I think, $55, $65 an hour, maybe more, maybe $85 an hour. I don't really know, but I know they're a lot more. So those people should be responding, like I said, if there's a broken hip. But if there's no, if this isn't a retirement residence owned building and there's no nursing station in here, then it's just an apartment building.
Then it's just an apartment building.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but you won't get $6,000 a month for it.
No. And then in terms of if we're catering to that, and then I'm going to take it to a retirement home operator, then I can probably leave the commercial component, which is the second floor, all to themselves. If they would like to have a more of an amenity designated.
Yeah, well, they will certainly have some amenities. But my recommendation is to put amenities actually in the basement. I've done a little bit of work with Chartwell.
Yep.
Chartwell's, I think, the biggest retirement residence operator in Canada with over 100 locations. And did I ever tell you what we did there?
No.
All right, I'll draw it up for you, make you $1 million. So here is the ground floor of a retirement residence. Okay, This is the main entrance. You come in here, and they've got a beautiful lobby. They've got a nice dining room, and they've got their offices. So this is the ground floor. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got, beautiful dining room, a lovely lobby and some offices, right? That's how they design it. So I work with, I coach actually a former student of mine, Eric Rossman. He's an architect, and he does, I think, all or most of the architecture work for Chartwell. And if you're interested in talking to Chartwell about your building, which I would strongly recommend, I'd like to introduce you to Eric Rossman.
So that was my next point, actually. A lot of the companies that are retirement home operators, they're based out of Toronto. They're not in
Yeah,
the rest of
and believe it or not, Montreal as well.
Okay.
So
And
Eric Rossman is, like I said, he's a former student of mine. He's an architect. He's brilliant. He's in his 30s, and he is very trusted by Chartwell and very close to Chartwell. So I would strongly recommend, but you have to reach back to me. Eric is E-R-I, I think it's with a K, and Eric, yeah, with a K. And his last name is Rossman, R-O-S-S-M-A-N-N. And he is an architect, the architect of record for a number of Chartwell buildings. And he's done a beautiful work for them. So anyway, so reach back to me. I'll introduce you to him, and hopefully he'll feel comfortable with you. I'm sure he will, and he can then introduce you to the Chartwell people, because these are the kind of people you should be talking to, and because they'll tell you if they think your plan and my plan and the plan, this is just not just your plan and my plan in isolation. This is also stuff that they do in the Netherlands, and I'm sure they do it in Scandinavia too. So maybe they're going to dump all over it, but if they do, then they're dumping over what the Europeans are doing.
right.
All right, so let me just show you what I suggested. Is I said to them, to Eric and to the Chartwell guys, put all of this stuff in the basement, right? Because none of that is revenue producing.
No,
Not really.
no, not
Having
where
a kitchen up here somewhere, having a dining room here, having some offices, those can go in the basement. What I said instead is what you're going to end up with, and I probably won't draw it very well, but what the hell, I'll try. Just give me a second here. Oh, shoot, I'm making a mess, but whatever. So what I suggested instead is something like this. So this is the ground floor. And these, instead of being offices for the staff, these are actual retirement residences, okay? And these are suites, and they're double loaded. In other words, they can be accessed from the inside as well as from the outside.
Right.
And, you know, I'll just show you what I'm getting at here. So there are double loaded conditions. So if you have the nursing station at the lower level, which is what I suggested, and there's a problem here, the nurse doesn't have to go outside to come inside. She can just come up the elevator or the stairs and go into the suite.
Right.
So this is a retirement suite.
Yes.
And I said, let's put a parking spot right next to that suite, and let's also make a little bit of a yard, you know, so that a senior could have a little sitting area out here, a little picnic table, maybe a barbecue. So if her niece visits, niece parks here, comes inside. Hi, grandma, or maybe, you know, granddaughter. Hi, grandma. Let's sit. It's a beautiful day. Let's sit outside. I'll make you a hamburger on the barbecue, etc. So let's think about this. So have you got your calculator there?
I did, but my kids have taken it. Oh, okay, that's okay. I got my phone.
You got your phone.
Yeah.
So by redesigning the ground floor, now the ground floor would have a lobby, it would have a reception area, it would have the elevators, it would have other things, but it would have, in this particular design that we did, it had 17 suites instead of, you know, non-revenue producing. 17 suites, and this particular one that we were looking at, they rented for $4,800 a month each. So multiply 17 by 4,800 by 12, what do you get?
979,200.
All right, thank you. Now multiply that by 0.66. 34% goes out the window for OPEX. It's probably a little higher than that, but we'll use 34%.
646.
Yeah. And,
272,000.
and,
So 640.
and Chartwell at that time was trading at about 22 to 1. So that means it's an implied cap rate of 1 divided by 22. So that's a 4.5% cap rate. So divide that net operating income by 0.045. What do you get?
14.3 million.
Yeah.
14 points.
So by redesigning the ground floor to be revenue producing and putting the non-revenue producing stuff in the lower level, added about 14 or 15 million dollars. I think it was actually a little bit more than that. But Chartwell understands stuff like that because it's a publicly traded REIT.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
And so if we're right that these things would lease for $6,000 a month instead of $4,800 a month because of this higher level care, and we could reduce the cost of the nursing station from $450,000 a year, maybe we could save $100 grand on that. Between that, you are again going to push their valuations up.
Right.
And when you're a publicly traded company, that's pretty much all that they care about.
Yeah. They just want the cap rates and they want the income. So, you know, on that same line, what we've thought, looking at because we have commercial on the bottom floor. So.
Yeah, that's fabulous. So the commercial, I think you keep that.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you change that. So I would never, what I was trying to say, maybe I didn't say it very well, is that second floor commercial, no, that's beautiful stuff. It's revenue producing stuff. And you know, if you need, you know, any kind of, you know, non-revenue producing space, it just goes below grade, that's all.
Yeah, and you know, the lobby, I have an amenity area there, and I'm not sure, we've tweaked a lot of the things, and in terms of that door, by the way, that door is possible.
Oh, is it now?
Oh yeah, they for some units, not all the units, but like all the corner units, it's absolutely possible.
Oh, fantastic.
The only thing that they had a concern was the sense of entry. When they open the door, you want to be able to see the window, and you want to be able to go, oh, this feels a lot bigger than it actually is.
Yeah,
so
no, I get that. So those doors would not be solid doors. You know, I would put lights in them.
Okay.
You know, when I say lights, I mean glazing.
Yeah.
But I'm not clear glazing. You want to have some privacy too.
Privacy, yeah.
You know, if you have a young person in the lock-off suite, she or he, I guess, you know, will want privacy from time to time. But so you could still get light through, you know, because otherwise it's just a dark tunnel.
Yeah, so they want to be able to like open that door. But more than anything else, what we thought was on the commercial side of things, you know, a lot of these luxury retirement homes, what they have is that they have a piano bar, wine bar, you know, where you can have a great meal, spa and everything else. Well, our tenants can be those guys that are open to the market, but we can have an alliance where, you know, they provide a discount to the people.
Absolutely. I want to come back to that. That is really good. Paul, you are definitely doing some really cool stuff. I want to show you something. I don't know if I can find it, but I think we may have talked about it before. You know what a light tube is, right?
Light tube.
Do you know what a light tube is?
Yeah, yeah.
You know that it conducts sunlight?
No. Like, are you talking about just a fluorescent light tube? Or
No. I'll show you. Oh, I wish I could find it. Just give me a second here. So, in order to really change, yeah, I guess this will probably show it to you better. So I'll share my screen with you, and it may not be something that is easy to do, but I have done it, and it is remarkable. These are called natural light solutions. So what you're doing is you're conducting natural sunlight into the inner part of your building. And this looks like, if you look at this here, this looks like as if it was, you know, a normal light, but it is not. This looks like it is a normal light. It is not. It is a sun conducting tube. Can you see it okay on this screen here?
Yeah, I can see it.
And we have put these into many, many, many of the buildings that we've built over the years. This cupboard that you see here on the right-hand side of my screen, Paul,
Yes.
you walk in there and it's freaky when you do it. You open the cupboard door, expecting it to be a dark cupboard that you can turn the light on, and it's like as if you were outside standing in the most brilliant sun. So what these are these things here. Let's see if I can show you. They're called sun tunnels, all right? So they actually grab the sun from up top, and it conducts it, into any part of the building that you want. In Australia, one of my clients in Melbourne did an entire underground garage lit with sunlight tubes. It is fantastic. Obviously, it's only lit when the sun is out, but you would be amazed at what this does. So if you, if you wanted to, you could conduct sunlight. You can do it from the side of the building. You can have sun tubes come in like this into your building, and then light up, any part of your building on the inside. It is truly remarkable what can be done, and they're not as expensive as you might think. And it's something that I would ask your architect is certainly going to know what they are. So some people call them sun tunnels, some people call them sunlight tubes. I just call them light tubes. And I'll see if I can this is, I know it's kind of not really that relevant, but it can make a big difference. And if you are ever showing a building with one of these in there, like my rich friends have them in their homes. So, because we all in Canada, we do suffer from SAD,
Yeah. No, I know that, because that's one of the reasons why we moved out to Calgary, is because my wife suffers from
you would not be alone. Yeah. There's something I really wanted to show you, see if because I think YouTube will show it a little bit better.
Welcome to the Energy Geek. In this episode of the Energy Geek, you can see the little light fixture in there with a couple of CFL bulbs and a very shiny surface looking up to the room. But the sun tube is really doing a very effective job. So during the daytime, you really shouldn't have to use any electric light.
See that?
Yeah. Wow.
It was the sun tube that I wanted to show you, not the skylight, because you can conduct light with these tubes. They can, do that, right? They can turn corners. And I want to show you one more thing, just so you know.
It's 50,000 houses. That's an extra mile from Sika. Being able to copy us anywhere in the world without us having to interfere with their growth. And that is why we were able to grow so big.
The concept works like a charm when the sun is out. But what about at night? By 7 o'clock, the slums are covered by a blanket of darkness. But Enoch Diaz has a solution. Since the slum residents no longer have to buy candles or kerosene for daytime, they can use that money to buy a lamp for night.
So this is, I'm trying to find the right part here.
He came up with solar plastic bulbs that can be produced here and that even the poorest families can afford.
So what this guy is doing is he is creating light with soda pop light. So he puts, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
He puts water in a soda pop bottle, puts a little bit of bleach on it, puts it in the roof, and wait till you see what happens with these lights. So this is the sunlight tube used for very, very poor people to give them light. And I'll see if I can find a good spot for you.
The entire house. Plenty of people have started producing the bulbs, and now they're able to live from their work.
Me and my partner earn 1,800 pesos a day. That's around 33 euros.
That's 180.
To the customers. There are more than 15,000 bottle lamps already lighting up slums across the Philippines. They help save money, usually spent on candles or kerosene lamps. And once they're installed, they glow for years as bright as a 55-watt bulb without
Really?
any electricity. They provide a welcome relief for many families.
Huh.
I'm happy. It's so bright. Residents in these slums are just happy to have some light. But Diaz's organization has an ulterior motive.
So I don't know if you understood what was going on there. Did you sort of see what was happening there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They figured out a solution to get sunlight into.
But you know, imagine your office where you are now. If you, and my office for that matter, if we had natural light being conducted right here, instead of having my LED lights over my, if I had natural sun coming in overhead here, beautiful.
Make a big difference.
So for especially for elders. I think sunlight tubes are really important. Anyway, that's enough of that. Thanks for putting.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, like small little things like that make a huge difference. And you know, that's one of the things that I want people to be able to come in there and think that, hey, these guys have thought of everything, and not leave anything unturned.
I'm amazed that companies like Chartwell and frankly architects like Eric Rossman have not adopted that more, because it's those, exactly what you said, Paul. It's those small features that are seemingly throwaway items that convince people to pay $6,000 a month.
Right, 100%.
And it's not $6,000 a month. It's $6,000 a month less the $1,200 they get for their lock-off suite. So it's $4,800.
Yes.
And you get a better level of care. First responder care is your lock-off suite partner. The second level would be the nursing station, and of course the third level would be, you know, an ambulance and the emergency services.
Would you leave the seniors or the people that are renting out the other second space to find the PSWs? Like, we found an organization, a school that actually that what they do is they have they train PSWs, right? So, you know, having them find the person that they like, I think would be a good fit. And because then the PSW could say, yeah, you know, we there's a good energy here.
I'm in total agreement with that. You know, I really like that idea. And you can imagine all of the organizations that are training PSWs, they would be all over this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, think about this. If I'm a person training as a PSW, or I have my PSW certificate, really by renting an affordable apartment in White Rock and working maybe an extra 3 hours a day, I can live in my own place, nice place, a decent place in White Rock for a negative amount of money.
Yes.
I have to think that you would have a lineup. I know from talking to people in Holland and elsewhere that they have no problem finding young people who want to do that. There's a lot of young people who have, you know, who are keen to get back to society. A lot of young people are quite caring. I mean, there's some, like I was mentioning earlier, who don't give a damn about anything but themselves. Yeah. But there are plenty of young people who are other directed and would, I'm sure, be quite happy to live in a beautiful building like you've designed, and live there for a negative amount of money. Yeah, it just makes so much sense.
Yeah, that model there, what you just said, makes a lot more sense to me, and gives me more clarity in the direction that I need to present.
Yeah, and you know, just keeping somebody company, a young person, you know, who isn't suffering. You know, like if you go to an old folks home, you know what they talk about all day? Their own aches and pains.
Yeah.
You know, or they don't like the fact that nobody calls them anymore, and their family seems to have forgotten them, or they don't like their financial planner. They're not.
Yeah.
You know, so so having a young person there, she says, I've got a new boyfriend,
Yeah.
I aced the last test, I went skiing at Whistler,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hell of a lot more interesting for a 90-year-old to listen to than me complaining about my poor arms, which are suffering from RSI, which they are. I do too much keyboarding. I don't complain because I hate hearing other people complain. So no matter what, my wife knows I could be at death's door and she'll ask me, how you doing? Oh, great. Fine. Because nobody really wants to hear your complaints.
Complaining.
Not
That
really.
is so true. Like
I mean, it would be, even if it's just, I'm going to get up every morning and help my elder, get in the shower, get dressed, get ready for the day. Maybe she can't read the instructions on something. She's forgotten the pill. We're having breakfast together. That is not too onerous,
Yeah.
and you get paid for it.
And you can pay for it. And the other thing that I saw from a retirement home, what they do is sometimes these guys want to get out, they want to go to a grocery store or whatever, but they don't want to drive. And why not provide a vehicle or a driver that can give that service? Or there's Uber now, but there's tons of that.
Yeah, but the other thing too is that my wife loves to shop. I do not. This T-shirt, I definitely didn't buy it. She bought it for me. I mean, she's a really good shopper. She's my personal shopper. I better not say that too loud, and she might go on strike. But a personal shopper, again, you'd be paid $20 or $25 an hour. Listen, can you go, pick? I need a new sweater. Can you go pick out one for me? Often, elders now will ask a younger person, can you help me get on Facebook? I want to or can you help me FaceTime with my granddaughter if you're in White Rock in Calgary?
Yeah.
So there's a tremendous amount of stuff that can go from the young person to the older person. And also there's quite a big opportunity for reverse mentoring. The older people can also mentor the younger people because they have more life experience.
Right. Would also, so the other degree of control the question that comes up is, like, say if they do offer 3 hours a day and they're helping the senior, how do you keep track of that? Right. And that's an audit or a system process.
How do restaurants keep track of all the hours that their servers put in, That's true. I would just steal whatever they're doing because, if you run a sports pub that does $4.5 million a year in business, you have probably anywhere from 70 to 120 workers. You've got to keep track of a lot of stuff.
That's true.
So I don't think that's insurmountable. I think the young person would have to log her hours every day.
Yeah, and maybe we can provide some technological piece where we can
listen, the restaurant industry has that down pat.
Yeah.
So if you had 30 young people living with 30 elders, you would just steal whatever they're doing in the restaurant industry. I wanted to show you this. I'm going to share my screen with you, Paul. When you talked about the commercial services at grade, but also the commercial services on the second floor serving the building, this reminded me of this is a restaurant in Ottawa called the Brew Table.
Yeah.
And you can see here, it's a decent sports bar. It's a pub. I don't know if you can see, but it has a very nice patio, which has been really busy this year during the pandemic. And it has a parking lot here, so people can come in and access the sports bar, the pub, enjoy the meals outside when they're allowed in to have a meal or a beer. They can do that. But it is a double loaded condition. It serves the hotel as well.
Right.
So when you go down the elevator from the 5th or 6th floor to the ground floor, it's connected to the sports pub. So the pub is here and it's double loaded, right? It serves people from the outside. Now, if you took this restaurant and you put it inside the hotel, the volume that this restaurant would do would drop by 3/4.
Right.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So when I look at your building here, right, and I need your actual design. So I'll just I'm going to stop this screen and share the other one. So when I look at your building here, the idea, at least to my way of thinking, would be that you've done exactly this, that people can be walking along the curb here or driving along, they can stop, they can go into any of these retail spaces, but they should be double loaded so that the people from the apartment building don't have to go outside to come inside.
So that's an easy fix, I guess, but I can talk to Tony about that. That's not hard. I don't see it a big issue to kind of go outside. I mean, like the weather never gets too cold or severe.
No, I mean, if you can't do it, you can't do it. Yeah. But the double loaded condition of that, the brew table, pub, and the days in has been tremendous. I did the lease for Nick Lambros, the very first one he did in that building. And almost from day one, he was doing, I know in his first year, he did about 3.5 million in volume. And last year it was probably 4.5 million. So in Ottawa, a restaurant that does 4.5 million a year is pretty
good. Great. That's great. That's fantastic.
And from the point of view of the owner of the Days Inn, who I know quite well, that particular location, he gets a triple net rent and a percentage rent. So he's making the owner
wow.
of the building is doing very well with that. He makes over $350,000 a year triple net, including the percentage rent.
Whew, nice.
That's a lot of money. And of course, the brew table has to pay on top of that their share of the property taxes, their utilities, and everything else. So on your beautiful building here, if people could access it from the inside, that would help. But it isn't crucial from the point of view of these commercial institutions, because you're only going to have 30 or 60 people living up there.
Right.
A hotel's a little bit of a different kettle of fish. There's more rooms and there's more people there, but and they're always hungry, those guys. This particular thing that I showed you is the closest hotel to the Department of National Defense headquarters. So it's
what area is that in Ottawa?
It's in Bell's Corners.
Bell's Corners,
which is very close to the new headquarters, of Department of National Defense. I mean, and so they're just, that hotel is full of, all these PSYOPs people, who are in town, and they're almost all men, and men eat a lot, drink a lot. I mean, compared to
drink a lot and eat a lot. Yeah, that's generally how it goes.
So Nick, that restaurant has really done well for Nick, I have to tell you. But this building here, at least I would think that you would want the people in the tower to be able to access at least the second floor services.
Yeah, so that's what I've done. I mean, like, I can probably share you my screen.
I'll have to make you the co-host. Hang on. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Make co-host. Okay, you are now the co-host, so you can share your screen with me.
Screen. So do you see the?
I do.
Yeah. So over here, basically, what you're suggesting is, here's the lobby. We can put doors easily to these parts of these units,
that would be
right?
easy. That's an double loading stuff is really, really important.
Right. And I think that's an easy fix. We have an amenity area here. It's basically a party room of some sorts, right? Yep. And I just changed this. This is the second floor commercial.
Yeah.
So we now, people from the upper levels can access these this commercial space. And you can see that there's stairs that go downstairs to that lobby, downstairs to the front, and then they can exit from the first floor. And there's another elevator, so I could just close it off. Yeah, so basically those are the changes that I have made, just thinking that in foresight. And none of these are compartmentalized right now, other than the washroom here. This whole area is open right now. It can be basically customized to whatever.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And but you know, again, we'll have to see. And you know, if we could get somebody like Chartwell interested in this building, I mean, this is just a fantastic plan. The whole question is, are they ready? Is somebody like Chartwell ready to embrace, you know, something that, at least from their point of view, would be quite revolutionary?
And I hope that's the case. And you know, that's why I'm trying to design these in a way that is optimal for just that, right? And
What
yeah,
does
like,
what does Tony think of this sort of overall concept?
Tony, you know, like it as long as I have my concept right, and Tony will design whatever I need him to design, they like it. They do like the design. They see that there's an opportunity here. You know, subtle tweaks, like, you know, even moving this washroom here that I have.
Yeah,
I've moved that over here. So this kitchen now is kind of closer to this area.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is now, and I can equip this with Murphy bed, so that's a little bit more open feeling.
That'd be
And the
cool.
washrooms, and what we've done is we in this area we're putting a laundry that can be used by all the people in these in these studios to use in here in this area, because there's an ample space. So there's laundry that could be shared there. Yeah, I mean, these are all just small things that we're constantly working on. You know, it was just a matter of just optimizing at this moment in time, right? There was another layout that I wanted to show you. I think where did it go here?
You like your Mac?
Yeah, I can't use anything else other than the Mac right now, so it's been working well, but sometimes it does have its quirks. No, I lost the layout. That's okay. It was just a matter of getting the washroom. You know, your tub. We already took that out, and we're putting showers in the studios.
And what you want to do is you want to have a step-in shower. You know, it'd be nice to have the you know, the zero-step roll-in shower, but those are expensive.
Right.
So we've been putting into buildings that we've been designing step-in showers that have literally a step like that.
Right.
As you know, you know what a roll-in shower is, right?
Yep. So that's exactly what
Those are expensive to do.
They are expensive. That's, you know, we're gonna have to bite the bullet on some things just to make it more comfortable. You know,
Well, if you can afford to put a roll-in shower, that whether you're a young person or an old person, they're beautiful.
right. So we're gonna have to spend some money somewhere. It's just the little details, like how you said, make.
Well, I like the light tube, and if you can afford it, then I'm all in favor of a roll-in shower, because then if you have a walker or a mechanical wheelchair, you can just go right in.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we're looking at here, and hopefully that. And then, you know, I thought maybe putting in some benches in the shower as well would help as well.
Yeah, we do that as well.
Yeah.
And we put grab bars everywhere. Like, you know what a grab bar is?
Yep.
Yeah. So you know, your towel rack isn't a towel rack; it's a towel rack and a grab bar. Like, your bathroom and my bathroom, if you and I were to stumble and grab our towel rack, you know, we just pull. I mean, you know, I weigh 185 pounds. You probably weigh a bit more. You know, we would just, you know, it would just come off the wall. But you know, the toilet roll holder, the towel rack, you know, the towel rack in the kitchen, all of these are also grab bars.
Got it. Yeah, those are all things that I'll make sure are in the building for sure. Like, you know, there has to be.
You know, if you design it in advance, it's very inexpensive to do.
Okay.
But if you go back and retrofit it, you know, you have to rip out the drywall and reinforce whatever's behind there, you know, with plywood, then it gets expensive. But when we built these buildings like this for elderly people, we just spec a grab bar toilet roll holder. So in case you stumble, you know, you can grab a hold of that thing, it won't pull off the wall.
Right.
And I think those are very simple things. Did I ever show you the making of the spy loft? It's a very small apartment. I'd like to, if you don't mind, stop sharing your screen for a minute. I'm going to show you something again on YouTube. Just only 2 minutes, so you know, bear with me for a minute. So I'll tell you this story. What happened here? This is an urban planner I coach in Ottawa, who has an old house downtown Ottawa, and his basement was, I think, maybe a 5 foot, you know, maybe 5 foot 6 inches of ceiling height. So obviously not satisfactory for a basement apartment. But he really wanted to create a basement apartment and to animate his house. He wanted to walk the walk, not just talk it.
Yeah.
And so he built this apartment underneath his house. And he dug down so he could deepen the basement. And I'll show you, it's about a 2.5 minute video. But what I want you to watch for is he did some really smart things that I didn't coach him on. He just figured out on his own. His appliances are smaller.
Interesting.
If you want to make your spaces bigger, first of all, older people don't need, you know, and back in my day, I had my 5 kids, my wife and I, my mother-in-law, and a nanny living in the house, and there was always lots of, so we had a fridge that was big enough for the Titanic. You know, but you know, when you become an old person, you don't really need that. And if you're a young person, you know, you have some milk in there and you have some bread and cheese and maybe a couple other things in there. So when you watch this video, I want you to watch for 2 things: how tiny his furniture is, how tiny his appliances are. Like he has like a full, you know, stacked washer dryer, but the washer and dryer are also small. The fridge is small. Everything is smaller, so the space looks bigger.
Yeah.
And the other thing is he has a Murphy bed in here. So this is a 235 square foot apartment under his house. He had 30 offers to lease this property sight unseen. Okay, you ready?
Love to see it. Yeah.
All right, hang on. Isn't that fantastic?
That's awesome.
And did you notice how tiny all the stuff was?
Yeah, the refrigerator, the
microwave.
stove, the microwave even, yeah.
I mean, it's big enough for one slice of pizza.
It's perfect. That's exactly what you need.
Yeah. So it's called The Making of the Spy Loft, and you should show that to Tony.
Yeah, I will. Actually, I think I think it's probably, I don't know what your schedule looks like. I think it'd be best to you to meet Ian and Tony.
I'd like to have another meeting with you because we missed last month. And one of the things that I'm going to put this in the Spy Loft here. I just put the YouTube link.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do, with your permission, is schedule a time to speak to you and Tony and Ian about setting up an opportunity, as long as they're okay with it. You can't sandbag them. You have to tell them that we're going to ask 10 or 15 of your trades to help out. We're going to ask them that. But 100%. Ian has to be on side and Tony has to be on side. They can't just say, oh, well, maybe. They can't be embarrassed. This is the way forward. You want to get this project done, Tony? You want to get it done, Ian? Paul? We got to fucking do it. So they have to be 110% on side. So have you got your schedule handy?
Yeah.
So let's have a look. I'll boot mine up too.
I'd like to do this a little bit sooner than later. I can probably get Ian on the phone probably more readily than I can Tony.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna do it on Zoom. There's just no way you can do this kind of thing on the phone.
No.
So, but I would like you to have at least a few slides ready to rock.
Yep.
Okay. In terms of my personal time, it's probably this Friday. I don't know if that's possible, but it's probably Friday.
Yeah, I think that might work for Ian. I'll have to double check with Tony.
Ask Tony. So let's try it for Friday. Let's see. Yes, at 3 p.m. my time, noon your time.
Yep, that would work.
Okay, Paul. And I'm just going to write down. Oops. So what's Tony's last name?
Casola.
Spell it for me.
Casola.
Okay, and your development manager?
Ian. So Kermack. Kermack.
All right. So I will, as soon as we're finished here, I will send you a Zoom link for that, and we're gonna raising money will reduce your stress level.
Yes, 100%. Actually, you know what? Everything else can come in and falls into place as long as you have the capital there.
As long as you have money, we're good.
Yeah.
And we're going to call what? And one of the things I'd like you to think about, Paul. So, Paul, I want for Friday though, I want you to put a few slides together.
Yep, I will.
Okay. They don't. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful slide deck that you've ever seen. It's just for Tony and Ian and Bruce. And you're going to present the slide deck on Friday, and then I'm going to chirp in.
Okay.
Right? So you're going to have 6 or 7, maybe 8 slides. It'll take you about an hour and a half to do. And but you have to tell Tony and Ian, look, we're going to raise $250,000. We're going to ask our trades and subtrades to help out. And my coach is going to join us on a call. It'll only last an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. This is an important project for Tony too. If it goes down the tubes, it's not good. It doesn't look good on his resume.
No. And the thing is, Tony's done a lot of, carried me a lot. And
I get that.
From the first project, right? From Lady Alexandra. I mean, and I owed him money for that. And I told Tony, and he's he was all in, right? So he's done a lot. I got to say, everyone on my team has done a lot.
But now you and I are going to push this over the goal line. We're going to raise $250,000, then we'll worry about the $5 million.
Yeah.
All right. Listen,
all right.
It's been great to talk to you. I will send you that Zoom link. If you don't mind, if you get the slide deck done before Friday at 3, if you get it done even Friday morning, if you have time, send it to me because I'd like to look at it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
I will
But
definitely do.
we're gonna go in the next couple of weeks. We're gonna go raise 250,000. I'll see you.
Sounds good, Bruce. Okay, take care. Okay, bye.